let's jump to this because this has been a big question for me and something I brought up along with the fan base. New offensive coordinator, Gerald, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm of like two minds. I don't want to see them bring in an offensive coordinator wholesale. You hire Steve Sarkisian for Steve Sarkisian, right? Steve Sarkisian, regardless of my frustrations with him in the red zone and in some weird play calling situations where he gets too smart for himself, Steve Sarkisian is one of the best offensive minds in the country. The guy can script a drive like nobody's business. The guy knows offense and creates looks and eye candy and all of that remains true. I don't know if it's somebody if it's a senior guy who you can get on a headset that can help him in red zone. To me, it's the red zone specifically. Like I need somebody to come in that can help get whatever is ailing Texas in the red zone. And I don't know if I think a full offensive coordinator change is not the answer. It just seems to me like, and I made a joke about it in post game because I need something to change in the red zone, but changing an offensive coordinator wholesale, especially the year when Arch Manning is taking over the offense, they came to Texas to play for Sark and in Sark's offense, right? Like you do not want to change that. That to me causes more problems than it solves in a lot of ways because again, a lot of these guys signed up to play for Sark and play in that offense and play in this system. So bringing in a new OC, I don't think fixes that. I think it may change some things in the red zone, but I think ultimately it creates more frustration and headache than it's worth. But whether it's getting a coach, I think of like Chip Kelly at Ohio State, right? Didn't want a head coach anymore. You don't need to bring him in as an OC. But can you bring him in to just help with some of these red zone issues, to help with what's going on? Whatever is in Sark's head that gets in his way in the red zone, to me, that is the solution. I think that to me is what needs to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I agree because think about it. If you bring in an offensive coordinator, is that offensive coordinator just going to want to run the Sark offense or is he going to want to run his offense? And I don't think the issue is Sark's offense, but I do think the issue is play sequencing. And I've had issues with that certain times. I thought there were certain points in this game, things didn't make sense because what was working to me in this game was the screen game short passing. And you saw that for a bunch at one time and then it would go away. You saw that at a bunch at one time, and then it'd go away. And you saw that with Steve Sarkisian. He would go to things that work consistently, and then for some reason stop it for a certain portion of the game, and then go back to it. And I never understood that. To me, again, I'm the school of Bill Belichick. Until you show me you can stop it, I'm running that play over and over and over again. And Sark would do that at certain times, and then he wouldn't do that. So that's my biggest issue with him. I think he's a great play designer. I think he's a great play caller when he just concentrate on it. And I think it was interesting when they asked both coaches at the Cotton Bowl, someone asked Steve Sarkisian, would you give up your play calling duty? He's like, I love it too much. And then they talked about Ryan Day, and Ryan Day basically said, I'd be sitting there on a Thursday thinking about how I'm going to run this play from the 7-yard line on this hash. And I'm like, I'm the head coach. I just can't be thinking about this on a random Thursday. I have to be thinking about the whole picture. So I don't know. I'm kind of caught in between. I would probably give it another year or two. If you keep seeing this stuff in the red zone, keep seeing odd play calling sequences, then I think it would be time for them to hire an offensive coordinator and make sure they are fine with just running the Steve Sarkisian offense. That's going to be hard to find because, again, Chip Kelly's only doing this because he really doesn't want a head coach anymore. He's getting paid a crap ton of money, and he's friends with Ryan Day.
I wonder if it's like an elevate AJ Milwee kind of situation. Milwee has been kind of Sark's understudy. I don't mean that as an insult, but he's been Sark's right hand for a very long time. He's Sark's quarterback coach. They are good friends. They have kind of almost a mentor-mentee relationship in a lot of ways. So I wonder if it comes to pass where you have somebody who knows Sark really, really well, knows Sark intimately, knows how he thinks, knows how he processes. Sark can still be involved in the scripting and in the scheming, but when it comes to being in the booth and calling plays, then it's Milwee, who, again, he's been with Sark for years, for a long, long, long time. So that to me would make sense if and when Texas does need to make the move. And again, I don't know if AJ Milwee wants to do that, but I think it creates a level of continuity. I think it creates a level of sameness that is needed and required because I think, again, and I don't want to say too many good things about Tom Herman, but one of the best things Tom Herman ever said was like, I have to be flipping between channels and talking to the defense and talking to the offense, and I can't do that if I'm also calling plays, right? Like he has to be the one that's in communication and running the whole game. And so like Ryan Day said at postgame, Tom Herman said it once, one of the only good things he's ever said, in my opinion. But like that to me, it's something to monitor. Again, if we don't see an improvement, if this continues to be the Achilles heel for Texas, then I think we need to have a conversation.
You don't think winning is hard is something that he said that's important?
I mean, it is hard, but like, come on.
No, it's just funny every post game.
Winning is hard.
It's like, winning, it's hard. God, that's gonna be stuck with me for a long time because he would say it every damn press conference. But
okay, I got one more. The only other, I loved this quote. Football is a game about moving another human being a place where he doesn't want to go. That is a good quote. That is bars right there.
Let's get away from the Tom Herman era. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting how this goes because the last play caller, I know this is stat floating out, to win a national championship as a head coach and calling his own plays was Jimbo Fisher in 2013. That's it. I don't know when the last one before that was. I'd have to look at it, but that was 12 years ago now. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know.
And it took an all-time quarterback. Like Jameis was one of those dudes in college.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he'll take an all-time quarterback, but I want something that will work consistently. So that's what I'm hoping. Obviously, we can find, and that's the thing too about the red zone thing. I don't want an arch band-aid where we're running him every time, and people are like, the red zone offense is fixed. No, Arch Manning fixed the red zone offense. When he's gone, it'll probably be the same. So you got to actually find a real fix. We'll see what happens.
Texas was great at third and short with Sam Ehlinger because the guy just threw himself at the line of scrimmage, right? Like it's not a fix, it's a band-aid. It's not a solution.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I agree with the AJ Milwee thing. I've been thinking that as well. If you're going to do it, I think that's the only option that I see right now. I don't know anyone else that's been on Sark's staff that's like he's boys with over the years that he's like, yeah, you know what? Can you come and call plays for me? Maybe Lane Kiffin can completely fall off the boat, go on a bender, and then we can hire him to do that because that'd be awesome. But I really don't know anyone else that would do it. I think AJ Milwee's like the only choice at this point.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Flood wants to call plays. That's not his jam. It just that's the only one that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that would be awkward too, because I don't really know how you could be up in the booth calling plays most likely, and then how are you going to communicate with your offensive lineman? I don't think that would work. So I think AJ Milwee's the only one. I don't know, but maybe Norm Chow. Let's bring him back out from the USC days. I don't know how old he is. He's got to be like 80 years old at this point.
That guy is pushing. So he's pushing up there for sure.
Pete Carroll. Hey, maybe we can get him. I know he's interviewing for NFL jobs. Call him up and see what happens. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't think we're going to get – I mean, Sark said it himself. He loves calling plays, so I just don't see it at this point. But could we see it in the future? Yeah.
He loves winning more. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Joey, Sark couldn't fix the red zone scoring issues in year 4. He needs to admit that it's not an execution problem. It is a situational play calling problem. I don't disagree with that. Yep. I mean, you can't really disagree with it to up until this point. That's what I'm saying. I think I'd give him one more year to solve it. I mean, if you can't solve it next year with Arch Manning, who's 6'4", 240 that you can run with, and you're going to have a really good running back room and wide receivers that can go up in the red zone and get the football like Ryan Winko, Khalil Glock, and those guys, it's probably not going to be solved by Sark then at that point. I think you're going to have to hire an offensive coordinator.
And I think the grain of salt that we have to have this whole conversation in, Texas sucks in the red zone and was still a play away from playing for playing for overtime to play in the national championship, right? Like that is the level that we're at. This is pimples on the prom queen. This is I think of when you're making improvements. I in my day job, I'm a consultant, right? You start with a machete where you're just cutting away vines and stuff, and that was the 5 and 7 year, and then you go to a knife, and then you go to a scalpel, and now we're doing laser surgery at this point. We're like, what are the things that are like small? And not, red zone scoring is not small, but like, how do we go from like holistic? We have more tight ends than offensive linemen. Then now we're like, okay, Sark needs to figure out the red zone, the 40 yards of the field that haunt him.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I've heard he wants to get better at in zone or inside zone running, which would help that as well. I think that is something I forgot to hit on too. I think we need to get away from just being an 80% outside zone running team. That does not work because we saw if you stopped outside zone, guess what you did? You won the game every time. But Georgia did it both games and Ohio State did it, and they won. Every other time where those teams didn't stop it, we won those games. That's not how this can be. That's not how this should work. It should be, oh, if this stopped this, then we can at least go to this. Like have like one or two more solutions. So I definitely think you got to get better at inside zone.
Need a third pitch.
Yeah, 100%. You just can't throw your fastball the whole game. And yeah, inside zone is going to help. I think you're going to see more read options. I know he doesn't like to run his quarterback, but I think you're going to see that with Arch Manning. I think overall that will help the run game and in the red zone as well. Because if you run the football in the red zone, that helps out a lot. We could not run the football versus good competition in the game period, and we definitely couldn't do it in the red zone.
I think C.J. Baxter will also help that problem.
Yes, he will definitely help that problem. Again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. This is the 36th edition of Texas Longhorns Live. We really appreciate you guys being here. Follow myself on Twitter right there and X, whatever you want to call it, Twitter, X, whatever it is. Follow it right there. And then there's Gerald's Twitter or X right there as well, along with his Longhorn Pod, which check out that as well. And you can listen to us on any audio platform, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. You can listen to us, Texas channel, SEC channel, the main channel. You can listen to all the channels on Mark Rogers TV. So check that out. And check out the Ole Miss Show every 2 p.m. Eastern time. Every 2 p.m. or every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Geez. So please check that out. And we really appreciate you guys being here. Joey will hit with this before we leave. Barry Looney Jr. is someone I would consider as an OC. I'm going to be straight up honest. I do not know who that is.
I have to Google it. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to Google it. I'm doing some research. Joey, you give me homework. I don't know if I like it, but I'm going to do it anyways.
No, I have not heard of Barry Looney Jr. Very interesting name. I'm going to be honest with you on that one. I feel like that would have come up. Yeah. Are you looking that up now? Because I'm actually interested.
I am. At Illinois. Okay. All right. Illinois.
Illinois was good this year, and they've had a good offense.
The first picture that comes up is him in an Arkansas hat. So I got to say, I'm going to have to pray through that one. I'm going to have to do some woosah on that one. But they were a good team this year. I don't know the similarities to what Sark is currently running because again, I don't know how far off of the Sark reservation they want to go with whatever OC they bring in, which is why I kind of tend toward do they have somebody in house that would like to go with it?
Yeah. Now that you brought that up, there are some other people out there. He's close with Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. Give them up a call and ask them if their quarterback coach or assistant quarterback coach is any interest in calling plays. I would trust those guys if they recommend someone to come to Texas and call plays for us. That would be a fix as well. I think that might work.
Yeah, could be. There are options if Texas goes that direction for sure.
100%. Again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe.